As you grow as a leader, I think one of the most challenging aspects of leadership is the influx of information. And as a business, organization, law firm grows, it oftentimes comes with increased complexity. So you've got more people, more points of contact, you've got more clients, which means you've got more emails, calls, texts, Slacks, all these things. And you're wondering, how do I keep up with it all? Well, this is a reality for pretty much every single leader. And in my case, what's been helpful to me is you've got to be able to have systems, and systems that allow you to kind of put yourself between you and this information. So meaning it's some sort of filter in a way. It's systems around, let's say you've got emails, when you respond to emails, when you respond to texts, how calls are routed your way. Does every email have to get to you? Does every call have to get to you? Does every Slack, does everything have to be? I mean, do you need to be the one point of contact for everything? And if you don't put these systems in place, as the complexity of the organization grows, it's going to become increasingly more difficult to be that person. And what's going to happen in many cases, you're just going to work more hours, you're going to get burnt out, you're going to get exhausted, and you're going to hit a point of where your just capacity is maxed out. You're not going to be able to get to everything. I mean, if you think about it, it's like, let's say you can respond to about 100 emails a day. Well, what happens when that becomes 1,000 emails a day or 10,000 emails a day? If you can play out this thought experiment, everybody hits a point of capacity, because the thing that's fixed is oftentimes your time. I mean, you only have 24 hours in a day, and if you subtract out the time that you're sleeping and eating and going to the bathroom, that's what you're left with. So there's only so much that you can do, which means that you have to introduce some sort of system and some sort of filter and also some sort of leverage. Here's how I go about it. Number one, if you want to get out of the grind, you've got to put more people between you and the grind. So does everything have to get to you? So sometimes a great way to expand capacity is to be able to hire another person, or to be able to delegate certain things to other people that perhaps for them it would be a higher and better use of their time than it is yours. Also, if you're looking at, well, how do I respond to every email? This comes back to things like differentiating between the hours you spend working and the hours you spend doing with actual productivity and output. So not all tasks are created equal. And years and years ago, I remember when I was starting Crisp, I would pride myself on finishing every day at inbox 0. And if I could just clear out every single email, I felt satisfied. But you quickly learn that emails received is a function of emails sent. So if I respond to 100 emails, then I'm probably going to get 100 emails back as well. If I end the day on inbox 0, I come in the next day and it's like, boom, I have 100 more responses. And that continues to grow and scale. So it doesn't mean that that's what's in the highest and best use of the organization. The same way as if you look down a list of completing tasks, is that going to be ultimately what drives the organization forward? So what I do is every day I have a top 3, and these are my top 3 focus areas and priorities. And this is what has to get done before I close my eyes at night. And I always write out this list of top 3 items, looking at my calendar for the week ahead and the day ahead at the end of each day. So like I already have like tomorrow's list written out because this is the end of this day, and I know what my top 3 are going to be for the following day. So I come in and I'm ready to attack those things. And I look at those through the lens of like, what's going to move the needle forward the most? And with my assistant, every week we have our top 3 for the week of like, what are our key focus areas? And then, like I said, these are further broken down to the top 3 for the day. If it's not in the top 3, then it's not going to be the highest priority, which means that I'm not even going to focus on those things until my top 3 is done, right? And sometimes your top 3 is done by noon. Wonderful. And anything else through the day is a bonus, or you can just go home early. You can do whatever you want. Sometimes it's going to take all day to focus on those things. But now you start to look at tasks more so based on priority, and you're not managing time as much as you're managing your focus. And that becomes the most important thing, because do you need to respond to every single email, every single text message, every single Slack? I did this experiment a few years ago when I went a month without responding to emails, and the world still turned and the sun still came up and everything was still fine. I thought everything would end. I thought the business would go under. It's like, what would happen? And the same thing with Slacks. It's like Slacks become the new email. You get out of email, and say if you're listening to this, maybe use Teams. It doesn't matter. But just because you move from like one platform to another platform, it's like as those communications stack up, it's being able to triage and say what is going to make the most impact and what's going to move the needle forward.